Fest. So thank you for coming along. We've got a panel. We've got Justin from Aggregate Co on the end here moderating. And today's topic is going to be AI in the supply chain from fulfillment to global scale. So if we could just welcome Justin in the panel with a few claps, that would be great.
Thanks everyone for coming along. Certainly appreciate it, especially after last night. Hopefully a few of you aren't as dusty as the rest of us. But I'm definitely looking forward to this one. AI is a bit of a hype word. I think we've managed to avoid it in most of our panels today, but this is primarily a big ticket item for a lot of companies and some exciting companies here that I feel privileged to be able to introduce and work through. So just a bit of background about the Aggregate Co. We've been there, done that, previously founded a $100 million parcel business in Australia. We've been a part of the industry for really since it started 15 years ago, and it's exciting as everyone is and knows is that e-commerce just changes every single day. So we're excited to take our experience into a dynamic space. And on the panel with me, I have the pleasure of having two great companies with us, and so I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. So Talia, do you want to start first, please?
Sure. I'm Talia Beder. I'm the founder and managing director of Skutopia. Skutopia is a software and robotics fulfillment business, and we're building also the execution layer for agentic commerce as well.
Excellent. I'm Prashant Menon. I've got managing director role for FedEx in Asia Pacific customer-facing solutions. Been with the company for a while. We now sit at that wonderful intersection of physical and digital. It's taken about 50 years for us to build our physical network, and now we are learning from companies like yourselves and doing the right things on using AI to be predictive and learn more about how to apply intelligence and insight. So back to you.
Nice. Well, I think today the big thing that we're looking to get into is the practical application. I think that there's always great to turn up to panels and sessions and you get death by PowerPoint and lots of lovely statistics, but the real takeaway for today is we're really looking to build out what is the practical application of it. And again, I'm very excited to hear some of the feedback to what we'll talk through today. And with the world of top of funnel, I think a lot of things around operations get forgotten, and the important part is how uniquely tied post-purchases to the actual importance of keeping and retaining customers, and even obtaining customers in the first place.
Right.
So that's a huge part. So today we're just going to get through some of that practical application. As the session describes, as brands scale, the biggest challenge is not demand, it's execution. Do you agree with that? Both of you have experience working with brands that do an incredible job of starting the top stuff, but do you feel like it's getting any better in Australia? Do you feel like it's a global thing, obviously with FedEx being a global business, but do you typically see that's the problem, where we see brands being able to get going, but the execution to a point of best practice seems to be the thing that's missing?
Let me give it a crack and then you take over. And just a reminder, we do have a fairly big domestic presence in Australia after the acquisition of TNT. So that gave us the power to learn about Australian brands as well. Is it getting better? The answer is certainly yes. And I think the reality is a lot of the brands, even some of the speakers who were talking earlier in the morning, I was so impressed with the founders of these wonderful companies who were talking about how they have applied technology to improve execution. That's pretty much what most of them were talking about. Recently, I came across a article which talks about supply chains have now become, sexy was the word used. Not quite sure it's there yet, but it is a topic of conversations at the board of director levels in most organizations, whether you're a small, medium, the founder is thinking about it, or whether you are a private limited, at least the board is thinking about it. So execution is exactly that. Once you get the demand, once you get the customer through the door, how do you fulfill that order? That's what the real rubber hits the road, and AI can certainly make that a game changer. So
yeah, for Talia, for you as well, you're obviously right at the end there with the fulfillment side of things and do a great job on execution, but do you find that you're having a lot of potentially distressed brands coming into the business and you're then enabling them with that execution piece with what you do?
I think if by execution we mean fulfillment in that space, I think execution and fulfillment is becoming, it has been big part of the growth journey. I think your fulfillment partner is not just a logistic service provider, it actually should be your growth partner. And that's traditionally how it should have been over the last few years, but today with the move into agentic, and big volume coming, starting to come already from, rather than from Google search and from Meta and TikTok, starting to come from OpenAI, Perplexity, and Gemini and Claude, it becomes even more important, substantially more important. So the fulfillment play, it's become actually your growth, your execution layer, if you like, and I can deep dive more into that if you like. So it has been, I would say execution is a big part of your growth. And we've seen $50 million brands coming to us and within 12 months becoming a $100 million brand, and also a $100 million brand becoming $200 million brand within 12 to 18 months. And that's a big part of the journey. And that's not just because our product is, the execution piece is amazing. Obviously, the product itself has to be amazing and the marketing team of these brands have to be amazing, but your fulfillment partner should enable that growth and be with you on the journey. But it is becoming substantially more important today specifically.
Totally agree. I'm just going to stick with you on this one, Talia, because I really feel like you're leading the way in the industry on this. But, let's probably get past the hype of AI and let's talk about practical application. Where are you, because I know that you go way up the chain and you support brands with a lot of stuff that typically hasn't been available from 3PL partners in the past, as it relates to potential support around demand planning, inventory control, stock placement, as well as getting goods out the door and correct carrier choice and so forth. What have you really seen as game changers in the last, let's be honest, it's moving so fast, maybe the last 6 months, where you've been able to really get deeper with the companies using different AI tools and strategy?
Can I talk about the last week rather than 6 months?
Yeah.
I just came from San Francisco. I landed in Melbourne early this week, and the last week alone been a massive learning and better understanding of the future. So if we the job of retail is to sell, right? If you are an online business or an omni-channel business, your job is to sell. You sell by being where your customer is. And as I said before, your customer used to be in Google search, used to be in TikTok, used to be in Meta, and now they're moving quite in big numbers and with massive growth quarter and quarter into Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, and OpenAI. And today, what's happening today specifically, an end consumer goes to OpenAI, to ChatGPT, and search, I want to buy this. I just did that a few weeks ago. I want to buy an electric bike. And then you see all the different links of what are the, and you can start comparing electric bikes and so on. And for now, you just click that link, go to the Shopify website or Magento or WooCommerce and complete the purchase there. That's the current state today. And it will come with an answer to your question. But to answer the question, we need to understand where the future is heading, because that's how we build our products and that's how we direct our product. So today all of you find the link in OpenAI. and go and complete the purchase on a Shopify website. The future is a spectrum in 5 steps, and I'll go take you to what is the latest step gonna be. The latest step gonna be, imagine you are going for a party on Saturday. Your ChatGPT knows that you love linen and you size large, and anticipate that you need actually a T-shirt for a Saturday party. So it goes and buy it on your behalf, and make sure that it's buying a T-shirt that's gonna arrive before Saturday party. This is the end of the future, like step 5 of agentic. It anticipate and buy on your behalf. The coming 6 to 12 months, it's gonna be the middle. It actually, you research a product, and the agent completes, you either complete the purchase yourself within OpenAI, you don't leave to the Shopify website, or within Claude, or within Perplexity, or Gemini, you click buy there, and it complete the purchase for you, or your agent specifically completes the purchase and just asks you for approval. That's 6 to 8 to 12 months from today. And the numbers, when you look at the number of people that are using the OpenAI channels, the agentic channels, is increasing quite substantially month on month. What does that mean to your fulfillment provider? How do you convince an agent to actually put your product into OpenAI and to say, execute this product, this is the right product? Then you go back to fulfillment. What does that mean? An agent's not going to complete that transaction unless it has a very high, almost certain, we call it in agentic, a very high certainty that the product inventory is there, it's going to be there, and you're going to deliver before Friday party, and it's actually going to be SKU 1. You ordered SKU 1, at a high certainty, going to be SKU 1. So I ordered black t-shirt size large, going to be linen black t-shirt size large. Now, almost certainty for an agent is 5 nines, 99.999% on quality, on speed, on real-time inventory. So that really, this vision of the future, that dictates what products how the whole product that we develop and we give our customer goes, because we believe online gonna continue growing, and big part of online will be agentic. A massive percentage of that will be agentic. So we need to make sure that, and as a business, we actually make money from our customers who are growing and picking and packing. So we make money from pick and pack. If my customers stop receiving orders and the orders go to someone else that's doing that with the agents, our business actually is not sustainable anymore. So what that means to us as a business, basically, our robots, we did a great job building a robotic brain that does all the autonomous pick, pack, and fulfillment execution, if you like, piece. And now we're building, in partnership with one of these companies that I just mentioned, in partnership, we're building an execution layer within these agentic channels. So basically, we're taking our customer's product, enriching it with the fulfillment certainty and real-time data.
Right.
And I'll be lying if I tell you I'm 5 nines in quality and SLA meeting, and we 99.97, 99.96, and depends on many other factors. We still need to work hard, very hard, and get to the 5 nines to get to that certainty. But what that means to our product is we're taking our product into becoming an execution layer. So taking our merchants' product catalog, serving it into these agents, and getting the robots to do the orders when they come from the agents.
And the beauty would be if the agent is able to anticipate a bit ahead of time so that you can allow the agent to figure out different route plans and different rate cards that the retailer can choose. So how do I keep my cost of fulfillment low is the other part of the agent's responsibility as well. So that piece is where the retailer's ability to integrate with demand, with anticipation, and be able to keep their delivery costs low, not anticipate the day before and pay premium rates for the delivery of that linen
100%.
shirt, right?
Pricing is a big part of the agentic decision. There's the fulfillment certainty. Right. There's the product attribute. Is it actually a linen T-shirt? And the reviews, the metadata, the reviews, what do customers think about this product, but also pricing, how much is it going to cost to deliver this item, and is this compared to any other items in the market, this SKU, is it priced in the right way as well? So absolutely, 100%.
So just looking at what FedEx has planned in the same sort of space as it relates to, obviously, supply chain is a challenging component at the moment with
You would know.
fuel surcharge changes and challenges around the world, space capacity problems. Obviously, you're blessed with your own fleet in a lot of areas, but things change, right?
Yes.
So things adapt, and we see some very cool use within the four walls warehousing that Talia and other 3PLs have got the ability to utilize. But when it comes to the actual customer journey, what's FedEx's goal as it relates to really leaning in on AI and dynamic updates on shipping times and things like that?
I think you already spoke about fulfillment, but you said the journey starts with demand, right? The ability to be able to predict demand, the ability to be able to foresee what that looks like, the anticipation piece. We are already working with some of the larger retailers and certainly the SME group as well on how these models can start to serve them better for demand. Then comes the fulfillment, which is, how do you plan your delivery from whatever the origin is to your destination? If you're scaling globally, you need to have multiple options. You need to have different transit times. How do you use AI to effectively create the right optimizer of route to your, what's the max you would like to pay for? That's the second piece. And the third, where we are starting to see a lot of traction, is actually returns. Returns is starting to become a huge pain problem for anyone who plays in that premium space. You want your product back. How do you get that back? And then comes the whole aspect of taxes and duties and the tariffs and things like that. I think this conference spoke about last year a lot. So how do you deal with that in that return space? Cross-border is the last mile piece that we are starting to look on. So yeah, that's the three themes that we are starting to see and certainly invest our AI capabilities in that space.
Just wanted to lean in a little bit more on how the dynamic aspect of AI is making improvements within your own businesses. So I'll start with you, Talia. What are the givens for you that you're starting to see really translate, again, as we spoke before about practical application of wins for you as a business? And if we think about that with a lens to the wider industry, where do you really feel like we're going to start to realize the full potential of AI? And again, let's probably talk about the last week as opposed to the last 6 months,
Yeah, it's changing fast. To be honest, I think commerce will be, for retailers, if I talk about revenue, AI is just a new, agentic is just a new channel of bringing revenue, really. B2B gonna still, your brick and mortar store gonna still be there. Your other online channel gonna still be there. Agentic just gonna be a channel where revenue comes from that you need to accommodate. Now, how can you use AI to improve your business? Today, you could see Anthropic's revenue went up from 9 billion to 30 billion in the matter of months. And when I talk to so many retailers and so many non-retail, just tech businesses that are utilizing, inclusive of my business, we're utilizing Claude quite substantially. I think there's a lot of, at the moment, there's a lot of trials and trying to do things from many businesses. And it will take time for a lot of non-tech businesses, inclusive of retailer, to start getting really good output. There was a panel here yesterday. I asked a question, do you measure token usage when you look at your team members' performance? So do you put token usage next to how people perform? And they said yes. And I said, so do you look at the output? Or this is for you, output means they spent $1,000 a month, that's amazing. And that's actually, at the moment, this is how people are looking at it. If you use a lot of tokens, it means there's higher output.
Yeah.
But I think we need to make that a lot more scientific and make sure that the output is actually
Matching.
a lot higher and we're getting something out of it. So as a business, we use AI. The way we use AI is in growth. We use it a lot in our sales product. We use it a lot, and I think that makes our life a lot easier when it comes to understanding who am I going to talk to right now, what type of conversations I should have with them, and so on. So across the different aspects of the business, we use it quite substantially if it's HR. Sorry, I take that back. HR and finance and medical not to use it. We don't allow any AI product to access our HR and finance software, but across growth, across marketing, across operation, we are using it quite extensively. And in the tech space, our dev team, our issue is because when we develop something, if we make a mistake, it has a massive impact and it's quite expensive on our customers. So we're not prompt writers. We developed something called the robotic brain, and that's quite a significant asset for us. And AI cannot move hardware yet. We move robots, and AI cannot do that. But we use our tech team uses AI and uses Claude more for testing and spike. What that means, basically, we have a theory that if we build a system in this architecture, it will perform a lot better than in this architecture. And we just go and do a spike quickly and try to see how this architecture will perform. And if it does perform well, then okay, humans actually go and write the code and build it in that specific architecture. And that saves us shit tons of time in doing things. So at the moment, this is how we're using it, and we're getting good output. But I think it would take 6 months to 12 months, hopefully, for people to start to understand, okay, spending doesn't mean output.
Yeah.
And I need to start measuring output, really.
A really good point. How does that look for you guys at FedEx?
So I think the reality is using AI, if you just want to tap into any of the existing platforms, relatively low barriers to entry. But if you want to create your own capability, folks like Talia, what they're doing, there's a lot of financial investments, there's a lot of resources that are required. For an LLM to run to the level of outputs you require, we are talking about multi-million dollars of investments. It's not ordinarily available to a lot of our retail partners. So where FedEx is focusing is problem solving for things that gain immediate value for people that, at least I was able to listen to early in the morning. These are established brands who are trying to scale globally from Australia to other countries, or people who have actually gone into maybe a couple of countries, want to move into more across the pond to New Zealand or to US or other parts of Asia. That's where we see opportunity, and these are the type of customers that we want to attract and be able to help with the AI investments that we are making. And again, it goes back to fulfillment being the largest piece. Specifically, where we saw opportunity was there was a lot of bill shock coming through taxes and duties, incorrect classification of your commodities, things how you pack, the density that you put in, how it goes into an airplane is very different compared to how it goes into a truck. And the freight charges will be quite shocking. So we can lean in and we can guide you through how to do these things to effectively reduce your costs. So that's where, keeping it simple, where we are seeing a lot of traction with the work we are doing. So.
Yeah, probably one of the most underrated cost levers in all of supply chain is understanding how you're putting stock out the door and how that relates to matching against carriers. And I know for you, Talia, you've got the dimming machine at the back end of things and being very, very, when you're packing and you're check weighing and cubing, like that level of detail and data is just, is best practice. And I think it's, the practical application. I think anyone that's operating their own warehouse or has a 3PL should be using that level of technology, because then you're only truly understanding what rates you should be going and asking from the carriers, or which carrier you should be working with, unless you have a proper handle on all of those things. So, it definitely, the piece that Talia has there within his warehouse is pretty crucial. I want to talk very briefly about probably I think one of the most underrated aspects of where AI potentially can come in and make a difference is dealing with exceptions, both within the four walls through oversolds maybe, or stock accuracy, or SLAs, and then during non-compliance deliveries as far as like breaching SLA. This for me feels like a real world practical space where it can look specifically at where are the problems root causing from and be able to work on those and suggest solutions. So is that on the radar for you guys, Talia, or is that something you're doing today, or
He's
something
at
you're working towards?
99.59s, did you say? What's an exception then?
I think so there's a lot of really awesome applications for AI across a few things that we're building today. So we're putting an MCP on our platform, so that's being built today. And MCP means basically it's an API gateway that allows an agent to come and execute things within our platform and effectively tell our robots what to do within the warehouse. So basically we're giving our merchants the power to write things that they want to write across 4 dimensions to start with. One of them is the most important that we see that has the biggest impact in your P&L and balance sheet that people actually don't really comprehend, that is inventory management. So we've seen very large businesses move a $700 million business from making loss to make it in profit purely by optimizing inventory. So basically, one of the MCP infrastructure that we're building to enable AI to actually come in and make decisions is basically understand high-selling SKUs, low-selling SKUs, understand newness in your products, and read the classifications that you have in your shopping cart, and help you understand how many days on hand you have, if you overstocked, understocked, and where do you need to price, underprice things, and move them on, and so on. So inventory management, supply and demand, that's a piece that we actually, as we're speaking now, we're building the infrastructure and the MCP to enable agents to come in, and we partnered with one of the largest global AI powerhouses that building with us the actual agents to come and do the adjustment in the stock. Okay. So I think there's a lot of AI applications that will help move the needles for customers. The other MCP infrastructure that we're building is for customer success and customer support. Means it will go, imagine your customer orders something and they ordered the wrong T-shirt, or they want to change an address, or they want to add another size because they're not sure if large going to fit them. In my case, I might need extra large sometimes. So an agent could come and you could call your merchant, and an agent would answer straight away and update the address, add another item, and in our case, because it's all roboticized in the back end, it goes directly to the robots that executes. So there's a lot of areas that you can go and improve that we're working on actively today. Is it ready? No, it's going to take us probably 6 months, I would say, to 8 months for the first supply and demand agent, but from there, it's limitless.
Yeah, and I think one of the big call-outs that you've brought up, I'm really happy you've done that, because I haven't really had too many people speak to it, is not only the profitability but the cash cycles involved with just sitting on D and C category stock that you should be getting rid of. But what the systems are doing is it's enabling you to make data-led decisions that often takes it away from being emotional.
Right.
And, this is my stock, and I love that stock, and I love that style, or I love this. But really, it's drowning your business because you have a couple of $100,000 in cash tied up in stock that's not moving.
Just
right?
on this, we just released a brand new platform to our customers the last few weeks. And this platform basically, it's the beginning, it's the think about it as the monitoring and transparency layer for the agents, for the MCP, where agents do. And basically, it's a massive analytics platform, real-time data that gives you the answers for all the questions, and gives you the answers you can ask like an agent, like as if you're asking OpenAI the question, right? So, but that to your point over here, we're democratizing data. So for a CEO to come and understand how the business is performing, you don't need to go and talk to 5 analysts and get them to put a report. You just go in and understand where's your inventory, how's your business doing. I have internally at Skutopia, I have our own version of it, and I purely start my day every morning by asking based on the last 24 hours, based on data, what happened in my business that I need to pay attention right now to. And it's really highlighted. So even for us, we now understand things about our merchants that we didn't know before. And our merchants now, we're going naked basically to our merch. Everyone has access to all the data, and our merchants can decide, do I want to democratize it for my whole business, or do I want finance to access one another? We are very, very pro-democratization and making decisions.
Yeah, nice. I'm really, it's an exciting time. You know, I think that for some of us in the room that are a bit longer in the tooth, like myself, you know, from the days of EDI messaging to where we are today is light years. What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask if there are any questions. We're just about to finish up. So if anyone had any questions around the application and use of AI and how they see that working today. Sorry, forgot about the bottom part. So yeah, I was just going to say if there's any questions from anyone around, you know, some of the work that either Talia's doing at Skutopia or Prashant's doing at FedEx. Any questions in just general terms around practical application? Last couple of minutes, so feel free to yell out. No?
And while you're thinking, yeah, you were speaking about exceptions. Exceptions is what, you know, we live and breathe practically every day. So there's a physicality of exceptions, and there is the AI side of it. I think AI will certainly make a significant improvement on how you handle exceptions. It is going to allow you to predict exceptions. That's where your business should be able to make immediate gains out of ability to make those decisions before it actually becomes an exception. So I want to close off with that. But yeah,
definitely get ahead of that. All right, folks. Well, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you breaking out part of your day and coming to see us.
Lunch hour.
During the lunch hour as well. I'm definitely starving. But we'll leave it at that. Please, if you're interested in following up on some of this great stuff, reach out to Talia, reach out to Prashant, the team here. You guys got a stand this year?
Yep.
Yeah,
just
stand down there for Skutopia. Definitely worth having a chat with the team. And yeah, thanks very much, guys. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.